What is up and welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Johnny SHREVE. I have BB Pro to tell like it is. Today guys, we're going to talk about how much muscle can you expect to build from being a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. How many calories you need to build a pound of muscle, and also the 5 most important things you need to actually build muscle. Let's get into it. So let's start things off. What can you expect to build muscle at a beginner level? You're looking at 1 to 2 pounds a month in the first 6-ish to 12 months. Now, this is not exact. These are just like, it's possible because your body's brand new to the stimulus. You've never lifted before and your body has to adapt. Now, how much muscle can you build as an intermediate? Well, over 2 to 3 months, you should expect to possibly build around a half a pound to a pound a month. You see how it's starting to decrease? Your body's starting to adapt to the training stimulus. And then if you're an advanced lifter, you can expect to put on about a quarter to a half a pound a month over 3 to 6 months. Now, what's considered a beginner, intermediate, and advanced? All right, so a beginner lifter is 6 to 12 months. The first year, let's just say the first year you're in the gym. And why? Because again, it's not necessarily, well, what about the people who have really good form and they have really good lifting skills, yada yada. Yeah, that will definitely help build muscle, but because the body hasn't trained before like that, it's a completely new stimulus for the body. So we're talking about tension, muscle tension being one of those like prerequisites to build muscle. We need a lot of tension, or we can have tension from weight or increasing duration in a set. Well, tension is extremely high for a beginner because they've never lifted before. Look, I've trained some people that are in their 40s that from the start of actually training, the 10-pound dumbbell is hard to curl. And that's normal, right? He's never had to curl a 10-pound anything before. What weighs 10 pounds in your day that you need to lift? There's not much, unless you got a cat, a kid, but it's not this. People don't make things that weigh 10 pounds. So your body, regardless, has never lifted that before, and it's new stimulus. All of a sudden, you know, tension is extremely high. Anything you're lifting, your body's gonna be like, we gotta adapt and adapt fast. Bam, there you go. And an intermediate lifter would be someone within like, 1 to 3 years, right? You've got 3 years of training. You have your muscle mind connection is good, like your form is good. When I say muscle mind connection, I mean it's like your awareness and your form is really good. You've made some steady progress. You're regular in the gym. Your body's definitely adapted to, training stimulus and whatnot. And then your advanced lifter is like, 3 to 5 years, right? You've trained more than 3 years. The DOMs you had the first time you've ever had DOMs when you first started training, at this point in your lifting career, you've experienced DOMs on countless times. You can experience DOMs after you've experienced DOMs before. And if you don't experience DOMs as much, it doesn't mean that you're not building muscle. It just means that your body has acclimated to the training stimulus. That's all it means. It got used to lifting weights. That's it, right? So that's what you can expect. Now, in those years. Now, how much do we have to eat to build a pound of muscle? Okay, so here it is. You need to eat 2,500 calories above maintenance to put on a pound of muscle. And it's not exact, because if you just sit there and eat 2,500 calories above maintenance and whatever else, you're gonna get fat. So if to put on a pound of fat, I need to eat 500 calories above maintenance. And if I want to put on a pound of fat, I only need to eat 2,500 calories above maintenance. Why do we eat enough to put on more fat than muscle, right? What does a 2,500 calories surplus look like? It doesn't mean 2,500 calories a day. It means, well, let's do some math. If I had a calculator, I've done that.
A few moments later.
So 2,500 calories divided by 7, because 7 days in a week, and boom, 350-ish calories above maintenance a day. In a perfect world, I'm saying this because we got to get down to how to actually do this, all right? So what should you do? I would say if you're trying to put on muscle, that you would be in a surplus of anything between, I would say, 150 to 350 calories above maintenance a day. Now, you take it slow. I have a range there because, again, the best way to do this is let's get in a surplus, but let's not have an excessive amount of extra calories so we end up putting on more fat. So the best thing to do is to start off eating 150 to 350 calories above maintenance. Work your way up. What I mean by that is the first week you eat 150 calories above maintenance. And then you realize, I didn't put on any fat. I look still pretty good. My conditioning is pretty good. Then I add another maybe 100 calories, and I add that all up until I get to my peak of 350 calories above maintenance. And I'm doing all the other things right. That's the best way to do it. We can do that by avoiding getting fat. Now we know what to expect and how much you need to actually build muscle. Now, how do we actually do this? And here's the thing that people understand, and reason why building muscle isn't so freaking easy. It takes time, and you've got to continue to do this over and over and over and over and over again. Number one, here's what you need to do consistently for the entire time that you're training. If you're trying to build any more muscle, let's say you're an advanced lifter and you want to put on more muscle, right? Let's say you're an intermediate and you want to put on more muscle. Let's say you're a beginner and you just want to put on muscle. You have to, with no question, non-negotiable, number one, you need to be in the gym. Cool, but you got to make sure that we're actually training hard enough. You don't have to train to failure, but you should be challenging the muscle through resistance training, right? And really, you can go in there and to be honest, guys, like if you went there and trained really light, you would stimulate muscle growth being a beginner, and you build muscle, but it will take longer. So we do want to lift a little heavier, like something close to 60 to 85% of your 1 rep max. 2, protein. Protein is non-negotiable. If you don't eat enough protein being the actual like amino acid. So if you're a vegetarian, if you're vegan, whatever, you got to get it from plants, so tofu, whatever. And if you're, eating, if you're carnivore diet or whatever, you have to have protein in general. Well, however you're getting your protein, you need enough of it. 1 to 1 grams of protein per body weight will cover your body's priority needs for the protein and building muscle as well too. Good to go. Now, you need to eat enough calories, meaning if you have all the protein in the world and you're eating in a deficit, you're not putting on muscle. You're not giving your body enough food. You cannot not eat enough food and expect to make muscle. Now here's the reason why. The reason why people don't put on muscle when they're eating in a deficit is because most of the time the deficit is extremely a crazy deficit. You can eat at maintenance. This might blow people's minds, but your maintenance could possibly be a deficit for you currently. Now we said that you have to eat 2,500 calories above maintenance to put on a pound of muscle. So if you're eating 4,000 calories and then you start eating 3,000 calories, you start losing weight. But guess what? Your body has enough calories to build muscle, right? But if you don't give your body enough calories, you can still lose weight, but you ain't building muscle. So rest and recovery, pretty obvious one. There are no days off. So if you're having absolutely terrible sleep, it's not gonna really not make you build muscle. If you have bad sleep, you're not gonna not build muscle. It's just gonna make it extremely hard for you to consistently build muscle. You're a beginner and you're trying to put on muscle and you're not sleeping well, and you could possibly build 1 to 2 pounds every month. Well, that might turn into like a quarter of a pound because you're not sleeping. It's not exact numbers, but just give you guys an idea, right? You need to rest and recover, sleep, and then in the end, genetics. Genetics play a massive role in your ability to build muscle. Some people as beginners will put on more muscle, or it's a almost guarantee that person will put on muscle when he trains. You know someone like that. You know someone who could just look at a weight and put on muscle, whether they're juiced up or they're natural. You know that for sure. There's somebody out there like that. But if they're not doing the things that I just said, their ability to build the maximum amount of muscle that they can build because of their genetics, their predisposition to being able to build more muscle, will considerably slow down. Considerably. So if you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced, we know how much muscle you can expect to build. And then we know now exactly what we need to do to make sure that we make those things a higher chance of actually happening. All right, enough stimulus, training in the gym, protein, 1 to 1 grams of protein per body weight. You have to at least have 2,500 calories above maintenance to put on some muscle. Enough calories. You need to be able to sleep, get well-rested sleep, water, and then however your genetics decide to play a role in this thing is gonna determine a lot. But even with genetics, those other things, if they're not done, you can be like, bye-bye muscle, or you can wait a long time for that muscle to show up. Anyway, let's make sure we continue to do the optimal things to build muscle.